accepted into a master's. I was also rejected for a PhD. Fuming, furious, doesn't even cut it.
It's a Friday night, turned on all her lights. Ooh.
It's now semester 2. I have like 12 more weeks of content before my degree's finished, although I have a spot patch on, so I'm not really doing much this week, but it's the start of semester 2 and I thought we'll get a vlog out of the way. I got accepted into a master's. The only master's I applied for, the only one I want to go to, but it is also still a backup in the sense that if I don't get into the PhDs I've applied for, I'll do the master's. But future plans are now in place. We've got at least a backup going for us. This semester we're doing 4 modules. We're doing my research paper, which I don't think is actually going to work because I don't think there's any data I can analyse, so that's a bust. Clinical psych, which some of the students who did it last year got like 52s in it, so that's also a bust. Advertising, which should be an easy first because it's all stuff that we've done before, like assessment methods, but also sometimes the lecturer says things that are potentially controversial. And then I'm doing human sexual diversity, which is probably the only good module this semester because the rest of them suck. Like in clinical, in like the third week, in like week 4, we have to have a case report due in, which first of all is a group project. Explain, no. And second of all, we've done 4 weeks of content. We're supposed to be like diagnosing someone and be like, oh, Timmy showed up with these symptoms of anxiety, he scored this on an anxiety scale, we gave him this therapy. In week 4, how much do we fucking know? Like the assessment methods for our uni literally never line up because we have an essay that like surely we could do the essay at the beginning and do the essay on the first 2 weeks of content and then do the case report at the end. We know things. I don't know. Oh, but also yesterday we had a big stress getting back into hoop lessons because they do hoop lessons every semester and I've already done the beginners class, so they have a beginners plus class, but last semester there was 2 beginners classes and they tried to squeeze it all into 1 beginners plus class. That went live at 6 PM yesterday and at 6 PM it was sold out, and then at like 6:04 it just kept gaining and losing spaces. Eventually I got into beginners hoop, beginner plus hoop, because a lot of people were like, oh, let's just do beginners again. I was like, I literally don't want to. I was like, there's nothing I want less than to do beginners again. I was like, I'll just not do it. Got into beginners plus, it was £56, but it's fine. I think it's because it's only 8 weeks before Easter. Like Easter's really fucking soon. Oh, and also 2 of our modules aren't even open on Blackboard, so I can't access any of the content. Cheers.
At her lips, towel hugs her hips. Ooh, she's going out. Slips on her dress.
So we are obviously playing Overwatch because I have nothing else to do, because basically our uni hasn't actually opened the Blackboard page for 2 of our modules, so I can't even access the content, and the first lecture is tomorrow for one of those, so that's another failure. I made my deadline list and all of our deadlines are just at the same time. Like we have Easter in between, which like none of the work can be done over Easter. The only thing that's due after Easter I think is the advert and the research paper, but all of the other stuff like we won't be able to do over Easter, so that also kind of sucks.
Toward the shower, lives for what feels like an hour, then turns up the song. Just another hopeless, romantic, caffeinated little dramatic in an age increasingly manic. She's just on the hunt for some magic. Look at her go. You'd never know that she's just another hopeless, romantic, caffeinated little dramatic. Text from all her friends, 'cause she's late again. Ooh.
So girls, fuming, furious, doesn't even cut it. I have vlogged absolutely nothing so far this week. I have vlogged my Aldi haul and me complaining, I'm going to complain again. If you've seen my video where I appealed against the university grade because my university is failure, I appealed that and they're like, babe, just like resubmit it like in the new assessment period, like a year after I originally did it, first of all. Stupid. I've just been given access to the new Blackboard for the same module that I'm supposed to be resubmitting the piece of coursework for. The assessment methods have changed. The assessment methods are not the same, which means am I doing those assessment methods? If I am, why am I doing 5 modules? There's nowhere for me to submit my resubmission coursework. I've not been told anything about this resubmission coursework, as like who I email, who I contact, who I submit it to. Can I even submit it? Because it's no longer technically an assessment method. Because we had 95% coursework, 5% MCQs. I've done those 5% MCQs. I didn't appeal those, so I already have that 5%. So my 95% coursework, how does that now come into play when there's a 40% and a 60% assessment? Where does my 5% go? Do I keep the 5%? Am I doing those new assessment methods? Do I resubmit my coursework and still keep my 5%? Basically, the university doesn't reply to any of my emails because I was just looking through all of my like tracking from my appeal, and one of the things it said, it was like, oh, the criminology office will be in contact soon with a new submission date. I've never heard from the criminology office. This was in July. I did this coursework, I started this coursework this time last year, and I submitted it in like June. I got the grade back in June, July, and I appealed it instantly. We submitted it in May, and then I got the grade back in June, July, so appealed it, have had it finished for an entire year, ready to go. And I was like, babe, can I just submit it? They're like, you have to wait till the assessment deadlines, the semester 2 assessment period. It's a piece of coursework. Why the fuck am I submitting it in an assessment period when it's a piece of coursework? I don't understand it. All of the content is the exact same, so surely my report is still viable. I still have access to the old Blackboard. Can I go back on that Blackboard and just resubmit it through there? Do I even get to do this? Am I gonna get told, haha, get assessment methods? Because if I do, why am I taking 5 modules when I've already passed the other module? The grade I got on the report wasn't even that bad. It was just, I could have done better. I objectively did do better. She marked me wrong. And I'm now just like, well, if I do these new assessment methods, I can literally do worse because it's not the same assessment. But why am I sitting 5 modules in semester 2 when I've already done one of these and I'm not resitting it because I failed it? Whereas the people who failed this module of their own accord were allowed to resubmit in August, I wasn't. Because they purposely took so long with my appeal so that other people couldn't appeal. Because I appealed on grounds that every single person in my cohort could have appealed based on. But you're only allowed to appeal within 30 working days of a decision being made. So they purposely took more than 30 working days to process my appeal and give me the evidence so that no one else could appeal. Which meant that I missed the August deadline. And I was like, well, it's a piece of coursework, let me just hit it. You've already read it, you're just rereading it and changing the grade. It will take you 10 minutes. And they're like, no, it's an assessment for the assessment period. It's literally a piece of coursework. I'm fuming. I hate my university. Don't come to this university. Yeah. Welcome to Wednesday. I am still angry. I could honestly film an update video on everything that's gone on since the appeal that I already filmed a video on, because there's just so much that they've lied to me about. I was told the criminology office would be in contact with me. They actually haven't, and I was told that last year in July. By the time I submit this coursework, it would have been an entire year since I appealed. Give me a good reason why I had to wait an entire year. So I'm not happy with that. To be honest, when am I happy with anything my university has ever done? I'm not. I was also rejected for a PhD because I didn't meet the essential requirements. The essential requirements being you currently are undertaking a degree or have undertaken one. You know why I couldn't prove that? Because I didn't have my transcript, which my university didn't send to me. Times are really good. Another thing, no one's replying to my emails. Not a single lecturer, ever. I sent someone an email and they replied, honestly like 20 minutes later, and then I replied to that email with another question. That was like last Thursday. Another lecturer hasn't replied to our emails since Christmas. Times are tough, but this semester I'm thinking, everyone hold your horses, I might actually do some content. I didn't do any content in all of second year or in semester 1 because funnily enough none of our assessments had anything to do with the content, but this time for human sexual diversity we have short answer questions. That's kind of requiring the content. I did the reading for that yesterday. Advertising, I had to do the content to some extent. Clinical, I had to do it to some extent. But the module that's most interesting anyway, I think, is sexual diversity. So that's good, hopefully. But it is also dumb that we do our first clinical psych module in the last semester, the last year of our degree. How is bitches supposed to know if they like clinical? Most people come into psychology thinking that they love clinical because they're like, oh my god, that's all psychology is. Literally, we've done 2 modules on mental health out of 24 modules? 2 out of 24. Those odds aren't odding. And they've decided to not do the module until the last semester of the last year. Like, they've moved it, they've swapped it so it's now you do it in second year, semester 1, but like, why did it take them so fucking long? And also they've had like, what, 3 modules cancelled this year? One module was supposed to be in semester 1, they moved it to semester 2, they then just cancelled it flat out. One module was supposed to be in semester 1, cancelled it before it even begun. One module in semester 1, cancelled it about 3 weeks through because the lecturer became ill. Do we not have secondary lecturers? Why would you have a single module run by just one person when people could get ill, people could strike, people could quit their jobs? I would run this university better than it's currently being run because shambolic.
So I've just been to netball and now it's time for hoop.
So it's now Thursday. I am going for coffee. So it's now Friday, and yesterday I washed my clothes and the washing machine like flipped its own switch halfway through the cycle, or at some point during the cycle, so my clothes were wet and locked in the machine. Then I got them out of the machine and I was like, well, fuck, what do I do? So I put them in the dryer. That also flipped the switch, so the dryer didn't work. So I had to hang up wet clothes in my living room, but wet clothes to the point where when you wring them out, because they were wringable, they still had soap in them. So all my clothes are wet. I have no clothes. And also apparently this has been happening a lot with like the fridge upstairs and stuff, and they just didn't think to mention it. I was like, surely like your fridge going off is kind of important, but yeah, today's Friday. I'm going to the GP to get my bone problems looked at, and by that I mean get told to go on a pill, get told to lose weight, something along those lines. And then we're going to the city, and then we get a grade back at 4 PM. It's probably gonna be bad. Still Friday. We get some grades back in like 15 minutes, but I'm back from the city, so here's my little haul. A hairbrush from Primark. Some really cute socks from Primark. They are like flowers and hearts, and then fruit. Underwear. This really cute gym top. I think it's really cute because I want like sports bra tops that are like long sports bras, but they're always just really cropped. And then these joggers, which are hopefully nice. Yeah, look at these socks. They've got lots of different fruit on them. They're really cute. I was gonna go with black socks, but that's boring. These ones, this gym top, and then the joggers.